But you know, earlier you saw some reports, and even yesterday and previously too, about developments in South Africa concerning Nigerians. And if you've been following what happens in that area, Southern Africa, some countries too closing their borders, so some huge misunderstanding in terms of and disagreement about what really is going on. Well, let's get it to get an attempt to just have an idea, or at least inquire of what all of this new information coming through. We've got Idah Peterside. He joins us via Skype from South Africa. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today on the program. Well, you know, when this story comes through, it's always such that, of course, there will always be mixed reactions, some very angry, some wondering what's happening in spite of all the previous meetings. Give us a background to these recent killings now. What exactly is going on?
Hi, good morning, Chamberlain, and all your viewers. It's quite unfortunate. I think this is not just xenophobia. We call it afrophobia. You know, it's moved from xenophobia because it's not all about foreigners in South Africa. It's gone beyond that. It's a targeted attack on Africans in Africa. That's why I say Afrophobia, because we have a whole lot of Chinese, Indians, and Malaysians that are in locations in South Africa doing business. But no one is touching them. No one is going after them. And it's quite unfortunate. You know, for me, I want to speak about Nigeria because I'm Nigerian. I've lived in this country for 20 years, you know, given my youth to this country, worked very hard. And all of a sudden, you know, I think it's a targeted thing. It's not just the killing of Nigerians. It's beyond that. It's gone to extortion. And the police is even involved in it. So, you know, yesterday, two Nigerians were killed yesterday, just in an open, there's a place called Sands Hotel where Nigerians hang out. You know, some young men just got there, demanded for money and shot both of them. It's quite unfortunate what we're experiencing in this country.
I'm just wondering because, you know, reading the report, several issues about this. Could you tell us what informs this? What is it thinking? Because if you say, look, the other foreign nationals who are not of African descent who are there doing business, what kind of thinking is going on there? Why do you think they're targeting Africans?
We've not really been able to place our hands on why they're targeting, because a whole lot of Africans that come here, you know, they come to hustle, if I will use the word. They come to look for greener pastures. So I think they put more effort. They take more risk in trying to earn a living. You know, unlike in South Africa, I think they just feel it's their right. There's been the apartheid regime, and the government owes them. The government owes them a kind of compensation. So they think they should get work when they are not qualified. They think they should drive cars when they are not qualified. They think they should get some benefits when they are not qualified. Okay, here in South Africa, if you get a child out of wedlock, you are paid maintenance. If you have 2 children, it increases. If you have 3 kids, it increases. So sometimes ladies just get pregnant because they want money. So when you see Africans, or let's call ourselves Africans or foreigners, as they would say, work very hard. And in working very hard, evidences are there. You see a South African that has not owned a house or bought a car, and a foreign national comes, works very hard, starts a shop, you know, because we're very adventurous. You know, buys a car, buys a house, and all of a sudden jealousy sets in. And I think that's what it is. It's pure jealousy, you know, because you know, in South Africa, you are not even allowed to work. Really, nobody gives you a job. There are no jobs. Nobody gives you a job. You need an ID, the green paper to work. You need a passport to work. And most foreign nationals have their asylum papers. And the law says with an asylum paper, you are not allowed to work. So it is no government job. So these foreigners create jobs for themselves and they live well. And in doing that, most people are jealous. And I think that's the foundation of foundation of the problem. You saw 2 weeks ago the president, which is what is fueling this next level of xenophobia and or afrophobia, I would say. The president came on air and said, we will not allow these foreigners to have shops in our locations, in our areas, and deprive people of their work. I wonder how that is depriving the citizens of their work when you start your own shop, you fund your own shop, and sell to the people. And I think that's what has caused the last pain that we are going through here.
When you said the president, are you talking about the current president, Ramaphosa, or you're talking about the former president, Jacob Zuma?
No, the current president, there's an election. Every time there's an election, if you look at the history, every time there's an election, there's xenophobia. Every time there's an election, because the government do not want to react. Because if they defend, and for you to defend the foreigners, it must be by force. Because deaths are involved, people are being killed. So you must apply force. Now, once you apply force, the citizenry here will say you are supporting the foreigners instead of the nationals, and they will not vote for you. They will not vote for you. So you have to lay low because people are being killed week in, week out. The police are not doing it. They just stand because you need to apply force if somebody is committing a murder. And once you do that, then there will be chaos in this country. They would say the president of this party is supporting the foreigners. So they just keep quiet and people are dying.
You know, in as sad as that is, because it just breaks my heart, breaks the hearts of a lot of Nigerians, Africans, if you will, to hear that coming out from the South African president himself, according to what you are telling us. But you did mention, or should I say, you qualified it as afrophobia. The Nigerian consulate in South Africa says that it is not xenophobic, those attacks, those earlier ones that were recorded. I think that was sometimes earlier this week. He said it was not a xenophobic nature of attack. But when you look at this, and you've also mentioned the apartheid region, that period, and how the youths in that country feel that the government owes them something when they don't necessarily work for it. What does that tell the foreigners in that country now? Shouldn't they feel perhaps that some kind of negotiations should take place first before they go into business to make ends meet or make a living or even improve the economy of South Africa?
Who gives us the permit? They give us the permit, they give us the visas to stay. And once you've been given a permit, you get a visa to stay, it means you've been vetoed. You know, they've checked you and you qualify to live in the country. And once you live in this country, you're not going to be living in South Africa and eating from Nigeria. You are going to make a job for yourself here. And so you do something. People sell tomatoes, people sell cell phones. People do that. And once shops have been broken into every day. Now, I had the consul general, and I was laughing. You know, sometimes you sit in your office there, and you're not on the street. So what you see is different from what you see in the consulate. There are people on the streets. I'm a pastor here, so I interact with the people day in, day out. The story is far above what is being published. Excuse me. The story is far above what is being published. The crime here, especially on foreigners, if we report it, there's going to be war. There's going to be war between nations because foreigners are dying per second. We have an average, and take this as a fact. We have an average of 20-25 foreigners that die every week in this country. And what we're saying, I'm a Nigerian. Fortunately for me, I'm in the board of trustees of the Nigerian community here. In that, we discuss, we talk, and we do not want to get to the point of carrying guns because it will get to that level. You know, it will get to the level where we will ask our nationals to carry guns or knives to defend themselves. But I think I want to speak to the Nigerian government. They are not doing enough. They are not doing enough. Last time we had a meeting with the Minister of Foreign Affairs. He came there and started speaking grammar. He speaks English, and you speak English, you have coffee, you have tea with the government officials, and you go back to Nigeria. But we feel the brunt. I think our Nigerian government should sit up. We're a nation of power. You know, we should sit up and say, I don't want to use that, but because it will be too aggressive. You know, but an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. We have corporates, we have people working in Nigeria that are South Africans. We have South Africans working in Malawi and in Zambia, but they are safe. Nobody's disturbing them. We need to put our foot down and defend our foreign nationals, especially for those of them that are in government, and say you can't do this again. We've said diplomacy. How long are we going to say diplomacy? We need to put our foot down and act like a nation of power, or else it will continue. What
kind of action are you expecting from Nigeria and these other countries that are affected by this afrophobia, you call it, that's going on in South Africa? What kind of action are you expecting? What kind of assertive action do you think will help?
Well, I'm not a diplomat, but there are advanced diplomacy. You know, you call the ambassador and sit him down, and if he says if things are not done, you withdraw our ambassador from here and withdraw the ambassador. That's, I think, it's a high tension diplomacy. You put restrictions. You know, do you know what it takes? For me, you know, things are a little bit better. But do you know what it takes to get into South Africa? You are embarrassed. You are disgraced. At the airport, it's like you're playing. Once you're carrying a Nigerian passport. Now, any plane, this is so real, any plane that comes in from Nigeria becomes a target. We are robbed at the airport. I've been followed twice to my house from the airport and robbed. Just because you are in Nigeria, they know maybe we carry cash, you know, but there's no kind of protection for foreign nationals. That's what we're saying here, and we just hope that there has to be a counter reaction from leaders of other nations.
But don't you think that? Well, I mean, it's definitely something that will help, you know, to protect the people, but don't you think that withdrawing, you know, the ambassadors of these countries could also spike the angst against the foreign nationals in South Africa?
Yeah, but, well, if you don't, there's still reaction. You understand? My people, there's a proverb in Nigeria, they say, take rope, tie goat, take goat, tie rope. Now the same. You know what I mean? So if nothing is done, but if we keep sitting this way, it will get worse. So, but something must be done to show the intensity or the pressure or the problems for those of us that are foreign nationals are facing.
So, well, in some quarters, some say in some quarters that these attacks, this afrophobia that you call it, is not pervasive all over South Africa, that it's just in certain populated areas. What do you think?
Does it matter? You don't have to be rich to be free. You don't have to be rich to be free. You know, the poor you will have amongst us. Some people can afford affluence. Some people can't afford to live where some people can afford to live. So you look for a place that is affordable. You know, in Nigeria, even while you have Ikoyi, you still have a Jogule. You still have some places where people must live wherever they desire to live and where they can afford. So it's not a crime not to be able to afford, you know, living in some affluent places. But what we're saying is safety. You have to protect whoever. Human life does not know whether you're Nigerian, you're South African, or you're American. Human life is human life. And I think the dignity of life must be preserved. That's what I'm saying.
Does that mean that this has nothing to do with criminality or foreign nationals who are in cult groups or cult clashes? You're saying this is beyond all of those?
Well, crime is crime. Crime is crime.
I mean, for foreign nationals who are involved in it being the cause of the attack.
No. We have squabbles. We have issues that pertains to drugs. And ironically, I do not want to call nations because I have to respect the dignity of countries. And we have looked at this accusation of drugs amongst Nigerians, where the Nigerians are in football, you will say amateur league. In drug dealing here in South Africa, the Nigerians are in amateur league. Why? Because you have the Chinese, you have the Indians, you have the Lebanese, you have the Cameroonians and Tanzanians. They are experts in these things. Just because Nigerians we are very loud, we are ostentatious, we want to drive big cars, so we're like fronts. But the issue of gangsterism and drug dealing is not peculiar to Nigerians. It's not peculiar to Nigerians. And there is this drug called Yaope, and the Yaope is what basically the poor people in South Africa take. Nigerians don't sell Yaope. Yaope is glue. The glue you use to glue your shoe and all that. They have a way of lighting it up and smoking it. So basically, that's what their citizens take because they can afford cocaine and all those kind of high intense drugs. So there is criminality everywhere in the world. But what we're saying is in South Africa is peculiar. It's peculiar because why must it be that if there are shootings, if there are deaths, there must be foreign nationals?
Because
it shouldn't be so.
Okay, quick one.
Okay, let me just get your thoughts on this one because I know that in 2017 there was a delegation of the National Assembly that had plans to visit South Africa because of this xenophobic form of attacks. What difference will it make if they come to South Africa today to try to meet with the parliament in South Africa to try to resolve some of this xenophobic attacks and crime against Nigerians?
To do what? What are they coming to do?
To
they
interface.
Come and drink tea, coffee? Well, no, they come here, drink tea, drink coffee, stay in Stanton, and buy clothes and take extra clothes. That's what they come to do. We're talking about president to president. It's beyond the House of Assembly and members of Parliament. It's beyond that. It has to be at the high level. For it to be resolved, it has to be a phone call from the president of Nigeria to the president of South Africa. We're talking about high-level diplomacy, not... they've been here so many times.
All right, to the Peterside,
like I said,
we appreciate your talking to us on this particular matter, and we can only say just stay safe.